Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. I've got my special friend here, Special Ed, with his special head and his special dead.
Hello, everyone.
And we're going to talk to you today about a lot of things. We have a lot of guests today. We have FluroTech is here. FluroTech makes a roadside breathalyzer for cannabis that also tests out THC and CBD content. We have, who else do we have?
Hempco.
We have Diane Jang from Hempco is here with us today. Hempco is majority owned by Aurora Cannabis, another company that they've got that, like, it's an embarrassment of riches is my new favorite term for them.
GreenSpace.
And then, of course, we have GreenSpace Brands. Matt von Teichman is here to talk to us about his partnership with Emblem Corp. All a bunch of our very favorite people. We're going to look at Golden Ridge today because it has broken out to the upside. Word of caution, we're big investors, just saying. And we're going to do a little technical analysis.
And also point out it's a volume leader on the venture again. It's a
volume leader on the venture.
I think it's 4 of the last 6 days or something like that.
There you have it. Also, we're going to do a little technical analysis of Weed, Canopy Growth Corp, trading on the TSX under the symbol CGC. Oh no, that's its New York Stock Exchange symbol, sorry. It's Weed on the TSX. Some real interesting developments on the technical side, not like you need any technical or fundamental analysis to tell you this thing's a buy with a $25 billion valuation on that recent cash injection from
25.
Constellation. Well, if you do the math, it's about 25
they're buying
billion.
20% for roughly $5 billion.
They're 30 some odd percent.
Okay,
with the right, with an additional warrant exercise to acquire 50%. Most importantly, though, that they've got 4 out of 7 seats on the board. Constellation does. So while it looks like Canopy Growth, it's actually Constellation Brands at this point who's running the show. However, Bruce, who was on the show yesterday, you can find that on our...
is Bruce on the board?
Bruce is on the board. Bruce remains the chairman of the board of Canopy Growth Corp. So, and he's basically, you know, it's pretty clear that Bruce says that they have made it very clear that he continues to have the mandate to run the show. So, at this point, is this Constellation Brands taking over Canopy, or is it Canopy taking over Constellation?
I'd have to say it's Constellation taking over Canopy.
See, you're not fun, Ed. Like,
well, I'm just saying because it's the bigger company.
I know, and they got 4 seats on the board.
Yeah.
But how do we know?
What's 4 out of 7? Maybe 4 out of 7 is less than 50%.
But what if the 4 board members have more stock in Canopy than they do in Constellation?
What if?
What if? Doesn't that technically make it a what?
If
you know, and this is a very interesting strategy on the part of Constellation Brands. We're going to acquire control of this investee company at a 37% premium to the closing share price, and then we're going to borrow $5 billion from our banker and give it to them, and thereby give them a $25 billion valuation, which, oh, by the way, that's us. So from a promotional market strategy perspective, I don't think you could write a better plan.
So you think that there may be these are wolves in sheep's clothing?
I think they're more like wolves in dragons' clothing.
Yeah, well, so they know what they're doing. They've given this a lot of thought, and they want to put a stranglehold because at some point in the next few years, marijuana is going to get legal in the States, and they're there.
Yeah.
Right? That's what that press release said.
Do you know how Canopy Growth got involved with Constellation in the first place? And Bruce mentioned this on the show yesterday.
What's that funny noise? I hope it's not my new Huawei phone.
No, it's not your Huawei phone. I don't know. I think we have a live studio audience on my phone. Is that you, live studio audience?
Yeah, no.
We've got the Hirschberg posse listening in al clandestino. Hello, Hirschberg posse.
I thought I heard something. Hello, gentlemen. How are you? This is Ed the Head.
For the edification of our audience members, these are 3. This is the posse of 3 astute investors with whom we have a special relationship.
Yeah, I'd say they're the 3 amigos.
They're the 3 amigos.
Yeah,
they bring us lots of good stuff, and we invest in lots of things together. And well, today they've got a ringside seat at the table. You got a seat at the table, gentlemen.
It's your. By the way, it's your Annie.
That's right. That's right. What are you buying today? Which one?
DCOP.
Is it
DCOP.
DCP or BC?
DCOP.
David or
B as in Bob.
Oh, BPOP.
aha?
Ah,
Yeah.
BCOP.
BPOP.
DCOP.
BCOP.
Bob, Charlie, Oscar, Peter. Bob, Charlie,
BCOP.
Oscar Peterson.
Beeman Corp. Oh, no, you're talking. It's a CNX deal, right?
Copper District.
Okay.
Copper District. BCA. Not. Oh, so which exchange?
Venture.
Where?
It's Venture Exchange.
Venture.
They acquired a property in Newfoundland on strike from Document Discovery as a huge property of 130 square kilometers with about 18 full showings.
Oh, okay. What's the name of the company? I can't find it online. What's the name of the company?
District Copper. District Copper.
District Copper. Okay, let's see here. District Copper. So here we are talking about mining again, and that might be a little bit surprising to the audience who's all about the cannabis conference, but District Copper Corp profile.
You know, nobody can see what you're doing except you.
DCOP. D is in dog.
Yeah.
Oh, he said not Bob, he said Dob.
Number one trader on the venture for the day.
Number one trader on the... Oh, okay.
I thought our stock, golden years.
Oh, but that's no trip to Hollywood. 10.11 million shares traded so far. Now that's interesting. All right, so they made a big discovery. We're going to cut now to our quick little show here with spit it out, FluroCorp. Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. My guest this segment is Rex Kary. He's the Chief Operating Officer of FluroTech, which does cannabis testing, and they are publicly traded on the TSX Venture under the symbol TEST. Rex, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me this morning.
You bet. Why don't we start with an overview exactly how your business runs and what it is you do?
FluroTech is a startup. What we do is we test cannabis. We've got a device that the technology came from the University of Calgary. It developed into a device that will test plants. We can test for THC, CBD potency, and then we can test for contaminants such as heavy metal, pesticides, mycoblutenol, aflatoxins. We have a whole range of tests that will come through.
Interesting.
When we're testing, we actually reduce the plant material down to a fluid.
Okay.
Because it's in a fluid, the step for us then to take it to saliva is actually fairly easy. So the next product that we're coming out with is a roadside test. And we'll have roadside tests that will go with law enforcement. That'll be coming out by the end of the year. Once that device is complete, we then take it to the industry for industry testing, anywhere that there is hazardous or safety-related jobs.
Oh, that's interesting. So that solves two big issues. I mean, in Canada, we've got testing pretty much under control, but I know in California, for example, the increased testing requirements have caused 80% of the supply to be illegible for distribution through the medical system. So is that your target market?
Our target market right now is the growers when we're testing the plants. And the largest problem that growers have right now is when they're sending the tests off to certified labs, there's a wait time. It can be anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks. We often hear of 10 days. What sets us apart is we're an in-house testing system, and the results are in 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So often when I talk to producers, I ask them how often they test, and they said, we test just before we're ready to sell so that we're compliant.
Right.
When I ask them, how often would you test if you could be testing or get the results in 15 minutes, they said, we'll be testing something near every day. We look at it that it's going to change the way the producers actually conduct themselves. If they're able to get tests and see the results in 15 minutes, they can start to optimize their crop. They can change the lighting, they can change the water. They can actually find the optimum time for harvest.
Oh.
We've got some clients that are wanting to test for early detection of heavy metals, such as cadmium. Cadmium can be carried through in some of the nutrients. They want to see that in the first week of growing rather than after the harvest has been completed.
Sure.
So it's both a risk mitigation as well as a optimization.
So is this then the fastest way to test your cannabis for all of these substances, for THC, CBD content, as well as pesticides? Is this the fastest technology available?
I don't know if it's the fastest. It's certainly one of the most accurate. We only test one thing at a time, but because we only test one thing at a time, it's extremely accurate. As an example, when testing in for heavy metals, much of the regulation is in parts per million. Ours tests in parts per billion. Wow. And the test from start to finish, when I say it's 15 minutes, 10 minutes of that is just in the preparation of the sample. When it's in saliva, it's already in a solution form, so it's down to about 4 minutes.
Right. Okay, so if I wanted to test some cannabis that I'd purchased from an illegal dispensary or from a legal dispensary, would I be able to send it to you as a service and you would test it for me and tell me exactly what it was made of and what the contaminants might be in it?
No, we are not a lab that you send, that is not our role. Our role is to sell the device to growers that may use it or extractors.
So if I'm a dispensary operator and I'm intaking product from a range of suppliers, I might want to have this device so I could actually know what I'm getting.
You may very well want to have this device.
Interesting.
And you could check the potency clearly, and more importantly, if there is any suspicion of any contaminants, you can check that very accurately.
And so how much does it cost to test a sample?
Our model is we sell the device itself. The device, currently the pricing is going to be finalized in October when our first sales will be, but it'll be in the order of $20,000 for the device.
For the device.
And then there's a consumable that goes with it, and that'll be in the order of $50 to $60 for the consumable.
Okay, so $50 to $60 per test. And so where will these products be sold?
Originally we're going to be going into market in November. It'll be in Canada, Western Canada. Q1 2019 we'll be coming back to Ontario and Quebec, and then we expect a lot of the micro producers or the craft producers will start to open, and we'll be servicing those clients. Later in the last half of 2019 we'll be going to all other jurisdictions that are legal to begin sales there as well.
Okay, so how many devices are actively in use by police forces in North America now for roadside testing of sobriety?
There's only been pilot programs. There has been some devices gone out. They have tested some other companies or some roadside testing, but it would be just a nominal amount for testing the devices to see if they actually work.
Right. So there has not yet been a device tested that has been then subsequently commercially adopted by a police force for regular use.
I understand that there is one that may be adopted by the federal government, and they're in negotiations with their agreement. What we have been told is that federal government will probably take 3 or 4 different companies. It makes sense not to have a concentration risk of your supplier. Right. One of our board members on our company, Rick Hansen, was the former police chief in Calgary, and he's been a wealth of information to help us develop this device.
Interesting. So of the two sort of business lines, which do you see being the most lucrative for the company going forward?
Actually, there's 3 business lines, but I'll come back to that.
Okay.
There are really different markets. Testing the plant and going to the growers, we have been told we've researched many reports, and it looks like about 5% of the overall cost or the retail value of cannabis will go into testing. Okay. So for round numbers, if we've got a $6 billion market in Canada, that's $300 million. How much of that would be in-house? A third to half of that's in-house. So the market is about $150 million market just in Canada. Sure. When you extrapolate that out to other jurisdictions, the numbers become quite staggering.
Right, okay.
The roadside testing, last reports I saw, federal government was budgeting in the order of $80 million for roadside testing. Just to
speaks for itself, doesn't it?
The third product that we have is we have a biomarker. And what we do is because we can test and we can see anything that we're looking for, we can put an attribute into the plant. So a water soluble, something that is absorbed into every cell of the plant. Then we can see it. So what this does is it would be like having a diamond and it's got a polar bear etched into it. You know it's a Canadian diamond. This allows any producer to put their own signature, their unique signature on that plant and then track it all the way through.
At the molecular level?
At the cellular level, yes.
The cellular level.
Yeah.
So would this be something that could be used in life sciences, medicine development? Like we want to see where this molecule or how it affects cells in different parts of the body?
Where it would actually be used probably in a greater part is in law enforcement and in customs. They'll be able to detect if it is been produced by a licensed producer or if it's produced in the black market.
Interesting.
What we have been advised is that there is some black market are using counterfeit packaging. So this allows the manufacturer or the producer to not only track the package but to track the plant as well.
I see. So can I buy one of these devices because I encounter a great deal of product that people bring to me and say, this is, you know, this is the best you're ever going to have, this is organic, this is sun grown with no chemicals, and I would love to have, like, there's nothing to stop me legally from buying one of your devices and having some guy make a representation about some product and me testing it on the spot. Is there?
There's nothing to stop you at all.
Okay, well, here's my, I'm placing one order for one machine, please.
Well, that's great, because I've been telling everybody Halloween we'll make our first sale, so you just upped the game for us.
Yeah, no, there you go. And I love the fact that I'm at the front of the line now. So Rex, you are just starting up. You haven't sold any machines yet. You've got a working, tested prototype that is ready for commercial distribution?
That's right. What we have is the first series of production is underway. Actually, I just got the email this morning that all parts are in.
Oh, great.
So the assembly of it will occur through September.
Okay.
And when it's assembled, we do have to have some approvals. There'll be CSA approvals. It is an electronic device. So we'll be going and getting our approvals completed. While we're doing that, next week we'll be going to 5 LPs. And those 5 LPs will take the device and look at our tutorial apps, run it, go through the traps, and make sure it does everything we say it does. We believe that anybody can watch the app and within 15 minutes conduct a test.
Oh, wow.
And then ensure that the packaging is working as well as we expect it to work. Once that's complete, there'll be heavy metals this week. THC and CBD will come out just shortly after Labor Day. And then we'll finalize all of our packaging, finalize our pricing, and be ready for market November 1.
What's the margin on your devices and on your consumables?
We exceed 50%.
Okay, great. Well, that's really great. I mean, I see that the company's recently started trading, you're new to the market, and I'm kind of excited about this product because it's something I've been looking for. And so I'm going to follow the story with interest, and I'm going to invite you back now in 4 months time, and when you've got a product, bring it with you, and we'll test some product on the show.
I look forward to coming back.
All right, thanks, Rex.
Thanks.
You know what day today is, Ed?
Friday.
You know how you can tell it's Friday?
No socks.
I got my feet up. I got my feet up on the desk.
You're resting your dogs.
Everybody says, you do this at home? And I say, I sure do.
Let the big dog eat.
Let the big dog eat. Eat over till the fat lady sings. So, you know, there's a lot of conversation going on right now on our YouTube page about the Golden Ridge. And we want to be clear here. We are not paid by this company. We have no stock that we didn't pay for.
I used to be employed by the company.
You used to be, but that's how we found out about it.
That ended. Well, we remember when I went to go visit him, and we talked about, you know, his house, no lawn.
Yeah. No, back
was last
then
September.
It was trading at 12 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, if we would have bought it back then. But yeah, so we own look at this. You can't really see what I'm doing. I look like I'm sitting down in the corner. It's time to get real about this, Edward.
Yeah.
Let's have a little respect for the audience here. Modern Picasso says some folks took profit on sick. Now here's another one. I'll have you know,
I'll be right
Modern
back.
Picasso, that I have not sold a single share. In fact, if it breaks below 30, which hasn't yet, I'm actually going to buy. I've got 40 minutes left to buy it. Let's take a quick look. I'm actually going to buy another couple 100,000 shares. And you might say, why is that, James West? Why would you buy something that's been sliding off a cliff slowly? Here's the thing about the Canadian gold junior market. There is a finite number of people playing this thing on a day trading basis. There's an even smaller number who are going to play it big. Most people take little swings here and there, and they come, they go, they're day traders. The pro traders take bigger bets. The long-term investors don't even care about the trading. They're playing it by market cap and where it's going to be, what's the future value. So these little drift-offs are opportunities to average down, if you will. All drill plays are binary. If you're making an investment based on a timeline that says, I'm going to sell this when the drill results take it higher, and that's a fun thing to do as a day trader because you're talking 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, some cases. If you're going to try to ride the thing all the way up to its maximized market cap, good luck figuring out when that maximized market cap is. That's when you see unrealized gains and you think you've made it, but you haven't until you've sold it. So don't even get fooled by that. Anyways, look at this chart, Ed.
Yeah.
Look at this chart. Sick looks sick to you?
Well,
RSI is still at 64.
You know what? It's worked off a lot of the overbought.
Yeah.
What I don't like, I'm not concerned. I am long this stock, not a major position, but nonetheless, I don't like this going below here. Okay, I would have liked to see. I'd like to see this thing close above 32. Okay. Why 32? I don't know. I just picked a number. But I think, can you move this line here?
Sure. Where would you like it?
Yeah. Wow. 33.
Where do you like it?
That's fine. That's fine.
Well,
I wanted to see something, but well, look, and now we're getting back to the Bollinger. Remember we were talking about it going through the Bollinger Band?
Yeah.
Like look at this through.
Sure enough, it comes back
right up here, and it comes back, and it wants to be in here somewhere. And now the bands are narrowing.
Okay. So again. But this thing tells me, look how wide the Bollinger range has gotten here.
Well, yeah, that's
if the
usually
thing dropped to 4 cents, it would still be in the Bollinger range.
What I want to tell you is that if you look at a multitude of charts, you'll see the Bollinger width contract and expand, especially in stocks that are high alpha. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we had expansion. And it's not going to expand forever because nothing ever did. There isn't a chart out there.
Well, it's already trending towards narrow.
Now it's narrowing. So it may narrow, but I'd like to see, I'd like to say, well, if this is a major discard, let's not go. You wouldn't want this thing going back into 25 cents, for instance.
Well, but here's the thing.
Well, we're already almost there.
We've got a small audience of day traders and investors in these stocks.
Maybe they're selling this to buy gold.
Well, that's just it. There's been nothing in the market for a year.
And all of a sudden,
GGI, and all of a sudden we got 3. You got ABN, SIC, and GLDN.
Did you say we have tree?
Tree. 33%, third percent. No.
Economic growth.
Okay, so now let's look at GLDN again quickly.
All right, I want to look. I do want to look at that chart because it's very intriguing.
Okay, and then people are asking us to look at. Oh shoot.
No CNX there, young fella.
I keep forgetting what.
Back it up one more time.
What's the symbol?
Just C, GLDN, and that's it.
Oh, there we go. Duh.
Well, let's make it tough.
This thing has the same look as the SIC, right? But it's still trading way outside of its upper Bollinger Band. Look at that. So
yeah. Okay.
Now, is this thing going to come flying back down to within the Bollinger Band?
Well, here is what we know. You can look at this chart and say it's overdone, but if they've got a major discovery, and we're probably 5 to 8 to 10 business days away from getting the next 2 holes, and this isn't even the other zones which are laden with gold.
Right.
What if they hit something big there? I shouldn't say what if. What if they don't?
Right.
So we said yesterday, great fundamentals override technicals. But nobody knows what the fundamentals are yet, but there's reason to speculate because the cores look so homogeneous.
True.
And I really never took more than one geology course, just saying.
Yeah, well, but we were,
look,
the geologists have that.
I thought it was going to correct here, and that's why I sold some stock. And I immediately, yesterday, I said, you know what? All bets are off. I'm not only buying that stock back, I bought more. And I feel like, you know, when it's 70 cents, you're going to say, well, why didn't I load the truck at 30 like
right.
this guy did?
Right, right.
You know, it's always, you can never have enough of a good one.
Right.
You always have too much of a bad one.
Right, right. Well, it's tough to be, I mean, if it weren't for my my extremely cynical and bruised experience.
Well, you've probably had some...
well, looking at sick is a tough thing every day, and seeing it eat downward, except I happen to know fundamentally there's lots of big things happening. Technically it looks like crap, but fundamentally there are things that just aren't out there yet. So I'm happy to sit on that investment and not look at that. Instead
always
I look at GLD.
You know, when you see exuberance in the market, I think to the viewers it's always a good idea to say, if I want X, maybe I should start with 0.2X or 0.3X and then say, okay, I'm going to wait till some of the euphoria calms down. And then if it does calm down and you still like everything looks good, you can add to your position and maybe average out a little bit better.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk a bit about the cannabis stocks today, because there's another phenomenon happening today, largely as a result of the fact that Constellation Brands put $5 billion into Canopy Growth, effectively taking control of the company.
Some people are looking at it differently, a little differently.
Well, some people are finally cluing in that this is a historic event.
Yes.
In stock markets, full stop.
With the word
That's it.
seminal, would you say seminal?
Well, the seminal event was the legalization of cannabis and it's going public.
So you wouldn't say seminal?
I wouldn't say seminal about the introduction.
Thanks, buddy.
Sorry, Ed.
You know what?
Sorry, Ed.
That's what I like. Let's be on the same page here.
I got to be right. If it's not my idea, forget it.
Oh,
no, but
okay.
That's how it's going to be, eh?
So,
anyways, but look at this.
Here's your gun. Go home. I don't want to.
Fuck. That's right.
Okay.
So look at this, though. We're back up like. We're back in the pink, as they say, although it's green in the Midas Letter large cap cannabis. Let's go look.
Is that the large one right there?
Large cap cannabis is the one on the left. So we're going to go look at that, and let's take a look. So look at Canopy Growth's trajectory today: 7.13%. By the end of the day yesterday, they'd only tacked on what, 7% yesterday. So now, if we go in close on weed on the technicals, so let's bring up that other charting mechanism. Let's pull up weed, because I want you to point out the technical indicators that basically have said all along that this is what was going to happen. Now, without knowing what the fundamentals are going to be, but
well, look,
this is the level that it had to break through, 42.07 right here. And so it's tested 42 here, and it broke through here, then it corrected, and now where is it going? It's going below, it's through 42 and it's at 43.
Yeah.
So technically, this is this.
Here's what another way to look at it. Here's some other things to consider. Like, you know, we had that sharp sell-off, and you're pointing out the below RSI. There's a bounce coming. I saying, soft, take it easy. But you were right. Okay, the timing thing is almost impossible. But the only thing I would say, it seems as though this high 43 level. 1, 2, 3 days. Okay, you see it? Yeah. Even though the candles are different, it gets near there, and for some reason we're having trouble getting into that 44 level. I'd like to see that, but it may have to work off some of this move here, because it's had a substantial move, almost $12 here. Yeah, and that's a big move.
Well, $44. Isn't that the price that the BMO financing was done at?
I can't recall.
No, it was 37. It was 37. Sorry. I'm confusing that.
Well,
so there's,
but it does. Look at it. Certainly, it's done well for anybody who owns this company.
Right. Okay. So now let's look at the ACB chart, which also is having a bit of a banner day. Here's the funny thing about ACB is press releases, and this is why I think it's struggling a bit. Is press releases come out on the companies that it owns either a minority or a majority interest in, and it doesn't accrue to the perception of what ACB's as an advance for ACB. Like, you look at those Alcanna stores, it pays a dividend, it's profitable, it's got a, you know, a massive market cap. You look at this Hempco, they own 52% of Hempco.
They have a company that pays a dividend?
Yeah.
Which one?
The Alcanna. So I'll pull up that chart.
Where does he get the money to pay it? I don't know anything about that company.
Okay, so here's
See, this
the
is
chart
where your knowledge of the industry has you at a distinct advantage.
I imagine that's true. In other words, I don't have a life outside of the industry. That's
well, I'm a technical. I'm looking at charts. I'm not really reading as much. You're more of a reader. I'm more of a
True that.
picture guy.
Well, actually, I'm more a relationship guy. Like, I spend all my time on the phone talking to people, going out and meeting them, having drinks with them, smoking up with them.
So Alcanna, wow, they own a chunk of this, do they?
Yeah, they own they're 25% owners of Alcanna. They have warrants to take them up to 40%.
Yeah.
Alcanna is opening up physical cannabis stores in Alberta right now and in Ontario, and they're named Aurora.
But how can they be generating profits?
This is the largest private liquor vendor in Canada. They have 242 stores in 4 provinces.
Now I see how they're making money.
Yeah.
They're bootleggers.
They're bootleggers, that's right. And what happened? Who are some of the biggest fortunes that were originated on bootlegging?
Is this live here?
Bronfman,
Is this live?
This is live.
Look at the price on Silkman.
34.
It was just 30.
Yeah, I know. Well,
this is what you look for. You look for.
Well, you know what? I opened my big mouth. I said, if it breaks 30, I'm backing up the truck.
Oh, they heard you.
And everybody backs up the truck in front of me.
Well, suck them in higher.
Oh, you mean take it up another notch? No, see, I don't want to try to play.
Enough with the double entendres.
Cat and mouse.
Enough with the double entendres.
Double entendres. We got to talk about that. Remember, we're going to have a discussion about the wordiness of this thing.
Am I going to have to go to the principal's office?
You're going to have to go. Let's technically look
Am I going to get the strap
ACB,
too?
you know, people are commenting.
Yeah, it's flying here. It's down 13. I'm just saying.
That's too bad. You know?
Afria is down 12. See that there's a disconnect.
No. Aurora's at 642.
Well, wait a minute now. There's
what's going on here?
Yeah, like what?
Soft. What is going on here? Are we running yesterday's tape or something?
No. Is it possible that
it just went from 640? What? No active session.
No, but is it possible that the chart is tape delayed and the tape is live? I got to look at the phone. I know I'm not supposed to, but I got to look at my phone because mine's up to date.
We're up 2.72%. No, this makes sense because I was following it earlier. So let's go double verify and check out Stockwatch live. ACB. And it's at 643. It's up 18 cents or 2.9%.
ACB is 642 to 643. That's right.
But we know that's right, Ed. The tape is wrong for some reason.
The tape is wrong. The tape is wrong because SIC is 31.
SIC is 31.
Yeah.
Did
so
it
the
break
tape's
30?
wrong. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So the tape is wrong. Control room, Fraser, Joe, Suzanne, Alex, why is the tape painted wrong out here? Do you have any ideas on that? Anyways, let's not dwell on that. Oh, the active session. You know what happens? They log in and this is what's happening is we're logging into the same account. Because I'm going to have to steal it now.
Okay, so I'm just looking at quotes. I'm not reading personal emails, viewers. Just saying. Business.
Because we haven't got Ed his highfalutin bump pad yet.
Yeah.
Bark pad, what did you call it yesterday?
Think pad. No, bark.
You had you had a slip of the tongue yesterday, and you made a humorous remark accidentally, which some of the audience caught, some of them didn't. Actually,
what did they say?
Let's do a quick technical talk on this because there's members of the audience on YouTube that requested this.
What I like about maybe this being a bottom, and we see it breach the Bollinger Band here. So this was acting worse than weed.
Yeah.
Not much, but it was. It was. And anyway, so we bounced. We did the same kind of thing. We had a nice green day, but sort of indecisive. The next day, we just there, and now we're moving back up. So we got a bit of looks like a bit of a symmetrical spike to the downside. and we're back to the middle of the Bollinger Band. So it would not surprise me, because we've been so overdone here that this is somehow going to grind back to the top Bollinger Band.
Yeah,
that often happens. Okay, from one band oversold, overbought, and you can see it all over the place, right? You just have to.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, look, you never know for sure, but if weed keeps going, it's probably going to suck this one up too.
Yeah.
I mean, like a vacuum.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much of that's going to happen, because
I know you don't know. That's why I'm just,
fundamentally, I think the market is going to start to recognize the $25 billion implied valuation of Canopy and start to take it there.
You're suggesting that weed is going to get re-rated?
Well, I'm suggesting that that investors are going to stop comparing Aurora to Canopy, because Canopy has catapulted into a new rarefied space, and
perhaps it's gotten into the big league.
Well, Aurora is for now going to be lumped in with among the others. But what I happen to know about Aurora, because I'm very intimate with the company, I'm a shareholder. I've talked to Cam probably more than his mother lately, and I got a good sense of what's going on. We know that the combined revenue picture for Aurora going forward is going to be, once you add in all these things, the Alcanna, the Hempco, the Pedanios, the can group down in Australia. Once you add all these things in, it's like, well, of all the companies that are going to be valued on the balance sheet, who's going to actually have the balance sheet to support the multi-billion-dollar valuation based on that, not on the speculation? I think that Aurora is going to have very much a strong presence in that, and that's when it'll come back to be valued against Canopy. Now, Aurora is also probably the #1 sought-out company for any other big alcohol, tobacco, or other adult recreational product branded company looking to get into the cannabis space. Who are you going to do a deal with? Certainly not. You're not going to do a deal with Hexo.
Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters! No. You're going to try to do a deal with Aurora, because they come with deep pockets. They come with presence in every continent on the planet except Antarctica.
Well, you say Aurora's got deep pockets, but doesn't weed have deeper pockets?
Well, weed has the deepest pockets of them all. Mirror, mirror on the wall. So yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You can't compare Aurora to weed now, because weed's got $5 billion. But weed is also a subsidiary of Constellation Brands. So it's not really Canopy Growth anymore, despite the fact that it is Canopy Growth. And it's interesting. So Constellation's taking control of Canopy, but I think Constellation's subordinating itself to Canopy's brand and presence. So this is an interesting reverse takeover, where the control is definitely on the takeover side, but the brand is being deferred, or rather transferred. The brand and the power and the reputation is being transferred over into Canopy.
Do you think maybe that's why maybe Constellation doesn't want, or they're hedging themselves a bit, saying, hey, this is a top quality company. We don't want it in, we don't want to sully.
All the debt that's going into Canopy is on Constellation's balance sheet. So
yeah.
If you're talking about a hedge, if let's say,
yeah, but what if something happens and it doesn't get, like let's say it's a mistake?
What if it could repay the bill?
Well,
what if Constellation
they're probably generating enough cash to look at this. Hey, I've spoken too soon. Weed is now $43.90.
Okay, there you go.
I think it's going higher. I think weed's going higher.
I published an article several months ago, many months ago actually now, on why Canopy could be worth $100 a share. And I don't own Canopy right now, so
we got to remember they were so deeply oversold that the blood was coming out every day. If you go look at these charts, we had a month and a half of serious deterioration.
Yeah,
I know I used to short a lot, and I'll tell you, if to you viewers out there, shorting is for professionals. You got to know what you're doing. Anyway. The market will remain illogical longer than you can remain solvent. And if there's a lot of shorts out there, every time it notches up, they get nervous and they cover more, thereby increasing the price. So I'm going to say right now, I think the marijuana stocks are a pretty good buy.
Yeah.
They've come off their lows quickly. Like, they're They're the lows you pointed out that day. We were sitting here and you said, well, Ed, according to what you're saying, it's a buy. Well, soft, but
yeah,
you were right.
We've got too many people on watching right now to say hello to, but our good friend Carl Boyd from Follow the Money is on Facebook
hey, Carl.
right now.
Carl, nice to see you again. Well, I'm not seeing you, but nice to talk to you.
And he's saying 73,500 shares at $44 would be a very bullish close. I think that's pretty astute remark. You know, I mean that would be indicative of, you know, an essential breakout. You know, or on the cusp of a breakout.
Some of these words, you know, it just looks like this thing wants to trend higher. I think it could go and test this 48.
Michael Barron contributes that it was $34 in the BMO financing. Thank you for that, Michael. We don't always have all the statistics at our fingertips. Right, let's see. Hello to Michael Carpenter, Heidi Lang, Greg Davis, Jordan Botha, Glenn Zay, Greg Davis, Joanna Clark, Michael Barron, Rob Armstrong, Carl Boyd, Michael J. Bling. Hello to everybody and welcome to the show. Your friend Dave Townshend is here from Calgary. Ed, say hello to Dave.
Yeah, I think Dave's in Prince Edward Island right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. Well,
and Dave is at one of his favorite places. He tells me he's been going to this place for decades. Okay, and you know, it's one of these things where when the water goes out, you can walk and walk and walk and walk.
Walk and walk and walk and walk? Sounds like a lot of walk and walk and talk and talk. Walk and walk and walk and walk.
Walking and talking.
That sounds like an excellent name.
Yeah, I'd like to go out there one day and just sit around with...
oh, look, my patio furniture's on the way. Let's go look at our YouTube channel and see.
Does that include some patio lanterns?
Well, you know, the problem with my patio lanterns is the squirrels. I have particularly nasty little squirrels in my neighborhood. They chew through all the electrical cable. Every time I fix them, I wrap them up with spicy tape, this Honda anti-rodent tape. Still doesn't slow them down, not at all. Oh, what's going on here? I'm not even signed into my Facebook page.
I'm not trying to be rude here, but I've got to watch these stocks because we're getting action all over the place.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, for instance, $43.98 now on weed.
No kidding.
And Aurora is up another %.
Boy,
almost 650. So look at you know what I think this. If this thing closes strong Friday, the shorts are going to be pulling their hair out, and there's lots of shorts in these things.
Lots of shorts.
Lots of shorts.
Dirty little shorts. Okay.
Oh geez, what's going on? Golden 45 bid.
45 bid GLDN. All right. Let's see, what do we got going on the YouTube channel? Let's see, which is YouTube? Here's YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Okay,
we should give Mike Blady a call a little later if you want. He said that maybe give him a call. He's traveling back to Toronto.
After the show, you mean?
Well, no, during the show.
During the show. I got a lot of comments here saying, hey, can we stick to the cannabis? Isn't this a cannabis company?
Okay.
We can't expect everybody to dive into the weed yet.
I know.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about. Here's another interview that I did just a couple of hours ago with a lady named Diane Jang, and she is the CEO of Hempco Food and Fiber Inc, which is majority owned by Aurora, another Aurora subsidiary that is on the cusp of doing great things in the industry. Here they are. Wait for it. Wait for it. Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. It's Friday, and my guest right now is Diane Jang. She's the CEO of Hempco Food and Fiber Inc, trading on the TSXV under the symbol HEMP. Diane, welcome to the show.
Thank you, James.
So, Diane, you brought products.
Yes.
So, obviously, you make food out of hemp, among other things, I'm assuming. Give me an overview. What does Hempco do?
Well, we're a processor, a marketer of hemp-based foods, hemp nutraceuticals, and hemp fiber for the global market. And
awesome.
These are some of their new lines that we've come out with, and I hope you can try a sample.
This is
our new product launch.
Savory onion.
Savory onion with hemp hearts and super seeds.
It's
a superfood. So it's planet hemp superfood.
Oh, I see. So you just eat it out of...
You can eat it as a snack. You can sprinkle on your avocado and toast. You can... Pretty much it's versatile. You can use it in anything. What do you think?
Well,
savory flavor.
You know, I already love hemp seeds. I eat organic hemp seeds almost every winter.
Okay,
I'm going to say.
Well, you should be on the lookout for our products because we do have an organic one as well.
Very cool.
And we're just launching it. It's one of our strategic initiatives.
Okay, I could eat a whole bag of that, no problem. That's going to be problematic. Please keep it away.
Okay, so that's our hemp-based food line, and then
Okay.
we also have a Praise brand, which is animal line, hemp supplements. So
Oh, for animals.
Right, and so we're expanding that as well. We're doing expansion of our bulk sales, wholesale globally. We're also going to become a supplier of, oh, you're liking it, that's good. And then we're becoming a supplier of fiber.
No, that's very good.
And then with the latest news that with this, the Cannabis Act, we'll be at this time with exemption that just came out August 10th. We're going to be our farmers will be collecting the leaves and the flowers and the buds to start collecting and storing it for October 17th, and then we're going to commercialize it, and you can get CBD extracts, hemp CBD extract.
Oh, great. Well, because I've found that CBD extracts are very therapeutic just on a day-to-day basis. I've been experimenting with myself as guinea pig, and I've been doing 33 milligram pure CBD. And the days that I do that are very interesting days. Yeah. You're not supposed to be a psychotropic effect. I don't really get high, but I certainly feel energized. I have a real sort of baseline sort of thrum going, and it's like, bring it on. I'm ready for everything.
So are you on it right now?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm not on anything right now. Stuart, it's 11 o'clock in the morning.
It's CBD though.
Oh, that's true.
Right, so.
But actually I found it does have a very physiological effect that, like, really, it really, I like, the first time I did it, I'm like, I feel like I'm tingling and sparkling and glowing all at once. And it wasn't a mental effect, it was a physical effect, but it had the mental effect of giving me like a real clarity of thought and real purposeful thinking, as opposed to my mind's normally bing, bing, bong, bing, bing, all over the place. So I love it. But so now, so these foods are available now in grocery stores.
Well, we're just launching it, so
Okay.
we're expanding our distribution network in Canada, over North America, actually globally, but we're just launching in Canada right now into retail, specialty natural foods, retail, grocery, drug, as well.
Okay, that's great. Now this is a company that's majority owned by Aurora.
Yes, as of May 31st, it's May 15th, 52.5% share, majority shareholder. So that's, they provide us a large, stable partner. They
lots of money if you need it.
Exactly.
Well, that's great. So this is amazing. So this is basically Aurora's mainstream food play.
Correct. Exactly. It broadens their portfolio.
Right.
It's value-added products.
So does this have a percentage of CBD in it just by the nature of it being hemp?
The hemp seed part? No, it does. It has. Well, it doesn't really have
trace amounts.
Trace amounts, basically.
Okay, so the sort of the benefit, the health benefit, the dietary benefit of eating hemp seeds, I happen to know, is the abundance of omega-3 fatty acids and the protein source.
Right, plant-based protein. There's 11 essential nutrients in just a serving of hemp heart. So.
Hemp hearts, right?
Yeah, so it's a superfood. They call it a superfood.
Oh, that's why I'm feeling so soupy lately. Actually, I eat it, I put it on my porridge in the winter. But I don't eat porridge in the summer for some reason. I don't know why, it's just a thing.
But there's so many different uses. You can put it on, like I have here, on Brussels sprouts.
Oh, yeah.
Sprinkle on Brussels sprouts, recipe ideas, salads.
I can imagine this sprinkled on like pretty much anything and then quickly baked onto what, like cauliflower, you name it. I'm just picturing, because the flavor is so rich, and it's and with the seasonings that you guys put in there, it's very nice.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it.
No, I really do. So I guess you must have a large sort of strategy for getting this stuff on the shelves in grocery stores.
Right. We're building that distribution right now, and we're a network of, in terms of grocery, retail, natural foods, especially the health and wellness market is a continuous growing market, so we're well positioned, well diversified. We've gotten so far very good responses on acceptance of the product line and excitement behind it. So
great.
Yeah.
Does Hempco grow hemp?
We work with a group of farmers, and we're working with them right now in terms of, because this is the harvest season right now. So this is the time frame where they're starting to collect and harvest the seed and collect the chaff and the flowers and the leaves as we speak.
Right. Okay. So is this hemp grown outdoors in Canada?
Yes, it's like an agriculture part. So the difference between hemp and then, say, the marijuana cannabis plant is that this is an agriculture product. It's grown out in the fields. It grows to about 5 to 6 feet high.
Yeah.
And you can get, it's basically our whole plant utilization. So now with a new regulation coming in with the Cannabis Act, we can use all parts of the plant. Previously, it was, part of it was thrown to waste, but now, and there's CBD, there's CBD extracts, hemp CBD extracts from these leaves that were thrown out before. Now we can, as of October 17th, we can commercialize it, we can extract it, and now it can be used as a raw material.
Interesting.
Yes.
So CBD extracts are, I mean, they're hugely valuable.
Yes, medicinal, it's got great nutraceutical, medicinal benefits. And then we also use the stalk for the fiber. So, so we're expanding our plant, 56,000 square foot plant in Nisku. It's going to have food for food production and then a fiber side on the other side. So we're going to be using the stalk and then this food. So our vision of whole plant utilization is finally coming to fruition. So
awesome. I've been dying to see, like, you can't help but still use paper in this day and age, miraculously enough. Is hemp paper going to be a thing again?
I believe so. There is hemp paper available today.
But it's usually way more expensive than normal paper, isn't it?
It's more expensive, but hopefully as there's more demand, it'll...
And more production.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I would think the price would come down with the more growers. Is it conceivable that hemp production, which is obviously much cheaper than THC premium bud production, is it conceivable that the outdoor hemp growing facilities are going to replace those higher cost THC production facilities as the primary source of CBD because it's going to be so much cheaper to access?
Well, it is a cheaper raw material, but there's going to be a big demand for CBD in general, I think. So, and hemp, CBD from hemp is different from CBD from the cannabis plant.
So, it is?
Yeah.
Different group of CBDs and micro CBDs?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I was listening to a doctor give a presentation at the MJBiz conference here yesterday, day before. And he has actually done clinical studies to determine which micro CBDs affect which varying types of cancers, which, it's preliminary, so, I was cautioned not to be projecting the message that don't do chemo, you can just do CBDs, you'll be fine, because that might not be the case. And there was given some examples of, patients who had abandoned conventional treatment in favor of purely CBD based on anecdotal evidence and had subsequently died prematurely, though who can say when prematurely actually is. Okay, so you've got 85 million shares out?
Yes.
Okay. And so, 60 million shares out, $85 million market cap. What's the revenue Q3? More than doubled from Q3 2017. What's your anticipated timeline to profitability?
Well, what we're hoping is that our strategy is working so far. It's early, signs of success, responses. So as we continue, it's going to strengthen and building revenues. Our focus is right now building revenue streams. Our margins have improved because of our value-added products as we grow and expand. So it's part of our strategy. Yes. Right,
and obviously, the market for hemp-based products is only going to grow from here because the laws are easing up and we finally stopped categorizing this as a chemical substance with no medical use.
Exactly. So it's a food, right? It's a superfood.
Yeah.
So it's projected. The 2018 Infinium Global Research Study that just came out. They forecasted by 2024. To be US $2.2 billion in hemp-based foods. So that's a cumulative growth of 330% over 2018. So that's huge. And
that is huge.
we hope to capture a big market of that. market share of that.
Fantastic. Well, you know, I love this. I love the idea that, you know, with Aurora as the majority shareholder, they're obviously committed to ensuring your success financially.
Yes.
So that's a relief. Access to capital is clearly not going to be an issue in the near term.
No.
Access to
And
markets.
they're very supportive. They've been very supportive
Right.
in terms of corporate development, in terms of their expertise, and so there's a lot of synergies there.
Sure. Are there a lot of people trying to capture the hemp opportunity in Canada at this point?
There's a few players out there, but who's going to be the first, and who's going to be the most innovative, and who's going to have that capital behind it? So we hope to be that global player.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, that's a great introduction. I'm amazed at this company. I'm actually going to.
Are you going to purchase it?
I'm going to buy
Yes, that's
10,000
great.
shares right now
Okay.
because I think it's a buy. And so, yeah, I'm a shareholder as of right now. Or has it? Let's see. Open orders. Go to positions. Filled.
Oh, great. Thanks, James. Thank you very much. Okay.
That's awesome. I love doing that.
Here, so enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll come back to you soon, and I'm glad to see you doing so well, Diane.
Thanks, James. Thanks.
We're done.
We're back.
Have you tried those hemp seed thingies? That's going to be our product of the day, which I'm going to reintroduce here.
But there's no THC.
There's no active ingredients. There's no there's trace CBDs because these are made from hemp seeds. So there's a very micro trace of some CBDs.
So why would you eat them? I guess they're good for you.
Well, because they're the #1 best source of non-meat omega-3s, fatty acids, which are the good ones that break down cholesterols. They are
similar to be found in an avocado.
I couldn't tell you that. I'm not a food scientist.
And they say that that's got the same stuff as olive oil.
No, beta carotene.
No, it's oleic acid or something like that.
Oh yeah, but it's 10 grams of protein per 100 grams, so it's 10% protein. So it's a great source of plant protein if you're a vegan. A, B, it's. Yeah,
I've heard hemp's a good natural food.
It's considered a superfood.
Yeah.
Did you know that hemp was one of the most widely cultivated plants at the onset of the transformation of man's transformation from roving hunter-gatherers to stationary agronomists?
Yeah.
And that there is speculation. Farmers.
Yeah.
There is speculation that the desire and the impetus for wanting to stay put and just cultivate hemp plants might have had something to do with the ingestion of the hemp flower.
Why would we leave this?
Well, exactly. So you come to a river valley, you see all these plants growing, you're like, that's a smelly thing, let's smoke that. You smoke it and you're just like, and suddenly it looks like you're sitting in nirvana and you're like, wait a second.
You know what?
We don't need to hunt and gather anymore. We can grow.
Soft.
No, I'm just saying,
you can go into a scene that looks quite unruly, quite chaotic, ingest some hemp. Bucolic.
Bucolic. Just saying.
I like that word.
Yeah, that's one of my
I like
favorites.
that word.
So we're looking at the...
you smoke the hemp and then, or the flower, and then it looks like the Garden of Eden.
And then you don't feel like fighting anymore.
You think, why would we leave the Garden of Eden?
And why would I fight? Why would I spend my days walking around in circles when it's like I'm in the most beautiful place in the world? I think man's perception of natural beauty largely stems from the endocannabinoid system within. There's a theory we're going to explore over the years ahead.
Wow.
We've got a lot of them.
Wow.
Anyways, we're looking at the Canada large cap cannabis. These are all of the companies trading over $500 million.
Wow, look at this.
in Canada.
Canopy growth over 45.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, over 44. I'd like to see that close over 44. We got a minute to go.
Well, it's going to close over 44. That's a 20-minute delay, though.
Oh.
On our charts.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No. It's
it says delayed price right in the.
Well, it's 44.08 as we speak.
44.08. Okay, so it looks like it's going to close.
Yeah, but that
about
thing
44.
jumps around like.
Up 8% on the day. Did you buy this? Anybody on either of the Facebook or YouTube chats, please tell us if you bought it and tell us at what price. We are going to anoint you as smart people. Did anybody catch Vic Neufeld's performance today at the Benzinga conference? The Benzinga conference at the Acadian Hall in the Simpson Tower at 401 Bay?
Yeah.
So,
no, I never caught it.
So our good friend Alan Brockstein was conducting himself with aplomb there as the MC. Didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I talked to a lot of our good friends. I saw Alvaro Torres and Darren Collins from Chiron.
Yeah, I've seen Darren now a couple of days in a row.
Yeah, well, he
was at Weimar.
Loitering around the city.
Gets around.
He gets around. But here's what I find interesting about this is that there's only one company in this entire list that has red in it, and that's T-God. And T-God is getting, well, it's just getting curbsided. But we're having T-God here next week. The CEO is coming here on Tuesday for the first time ever on our show. So we're going to ask him some very pointed questions about, like, why would you keep building after they told you didn't have a building permit? That'll be the tough question. Then we'll let him spill and shine all the glorious things that are going to happen to make this thing a monster stock. That's next Tuesday. CanTrust Holdings next week is having a brand launch party.
Now, it's just, if they nail down a location for this, is there a venue?
They have. But this being a PG-rated show, we're not going to discuss the venue. Actually, I'm not sure that's public information, so I'm not sure that we're in a position to
you know what?
it.
Soft.
Yeah,
let's just put the mute button on.
Yeah, let's
cone of
lower
silence.
The dome of...
Dome?
Cone?
I think cone.
Okay, the dome's fine. Anyway, so yeah, everything getting lifted here. CanTrust up 4.42% to 780. Canopy obviously leading the charge, up 8.2% to $44. Man, but everything getting a lift. Even Hexo is almost above where it announced its deal with Molson Coors, which is a miracle. Oxley Cannabis, 78 cents. It's trucking along there.
It's just building ahead of steam.
Yeah, Vic has re-entered the realm of the $10 to $11 range, which is probably good for him. MedMen, back up to $4.55.
There's no question we seem to be in a bit of a rally mode now after that.
Oh, I'd say there's an accumulation phase underway because of $5 billion investment. When was the last time you heard about $5 billion being invested in the mining space, Ed, in a single company? When was that? Oh, probably never. When was the last time you heard about...
No, because these mines, some of these mines cost...
Yeah. No, this is like a sovereign wealth fund buying into a company. Like, yeah. That's a big investment. That either legitimizes the cannabis industry globally beyond any further debate, or identifies it categorically as a bunch of lunatics with too much money. Either way, we'll take it. Yeah. So now let's go back one and let's see what's happening in the CSE, which is kind of my favorite index for speculating. TerrAscend sucking hind tit, even though it maintains its role as largest market cap. Let's look at the high performers. Suniva, up $1.30 today. Let's go see why Suniva would be up $1.30. Better, let's hope it's on some news. Oh, look, we've written lots of articles about it, I see. Oh. But the last news release on Suniva that we can see is July 26th. So, I think we need to give Tony Holler a call. I need to think we give Tony Holler a holler and say, WTF, Tony, why is your stock rocking and rolling when you don't have any news?
I was so thinking the same thing.
Well, I have no doubt, Ed. Let's do it.
Let's give Tony Holler a holler.
Let's do a quick.
I feel somewhat
analytic
you stole that from me.
Yeah, but you were thinking
telepathically. Yep, there you go.
There we go. So here's Suniva. Boy, look at that drop.
Well, you know, I'm looking at Midas Letter RAW right now, to be honest with you.
Oh,
there it is.
There we go.
Wow. Well, that's been one of the
So that's been a plop and drop. Plop, plop.
Well, look, you know, now let's just look over here. Do you know what? Okay, now here, case in point. Look at this. Look at this. This thing got so hammered. Look what the RSI got to.
We're not talking drunk.
Look at that RSI got to down here.
14.6.
You know, that is like rare, rare, rare. And sure enough, if you had the BALLS, you get in here 478. You're already at 7. Clean 40%, 43% return. Now,
Jesus, Tony, why don't you give us a call when that kind of thing's about to happen?
I want to point out at this stage.
All right.
When you get that kind of a move from here, it's unlikely we're going to get much more than that because we've had a 43% move. When it's up here,
okay, but
what's a 43% move?
Right. Okay, so technically that's fine. But what about, like, so this thing has jumped 3 days in a row, 43%. On no news. So what does that tell you? Somebody's trading ahead of something.
No. It could also mean the shorts got caught and just propelled the shit out of this. You'd have to know the short position because if the shorts start to, you know, look, it's the same as going up. It doesn't go up in a straight line. And if there's a lot of shorts in the game, and there are in this marijuana space.
I'm going to cut to the 5-day look because my bullshit meter is like going off the charts here.
Bullshit meter?
Yeah, like. Why is this thing trading on no news? Somebody knows something. So if there's a big announcement, like this is the thing. Here's the fun thing and fun fact about Canada. People trade on insider information all the time. They don't even get their wrist slapped.
Somebody said it's one of the hardest things to prove because it's so much innuendo.
U.S. guys don't have too much trouble proving that. I certainly.
You know why? What's her name? Martha Stewart went to jail because she lied. If she never would have lied, she would have never went to jail. Like, she just had to tell them what she did, but she didn't.
Well, what makes you think they wouldn't have thrown her in jail anyways for what she did?
Well, they've said that's.
Yeah, but
well, she only went for 6 months or something.
The only bigger liar than a criminal is a Fed. I mean, come on. It's true. We all know it. It's
I don't know. You're talking like
a
conspiracy guy right now, thinking somebody knows something.
You know, it's only conspiracy.
This could be just short covering.
Well, short covering. So why are people? Like what if it's stocks in free fall? Why would you short cover unless there's something coming?
Because
you've made your money.
Look.
I mean, that could be the profit taking. But if I was going to profit take on the short side, I wouldn't do it like that. I'd take it slowly because if I'm going to try a reversal,
but you're assuming there's only one guy covering.
Well, or I'm assuming it's one.
If I cover and it starts to go up, and then somebody else covers it starts to go up, and you're sitting there thinking, I'm not going to cover. And you're thinking I'm up a lot of money, and all of a sudden your profit's eroding dramatically, you might say, hey, you know what? I've had enough. Cover the damn thing. I'll come back to fight another day. Being short a stock is the worst. And when you're short and it's going against you, there's no worse feeling.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind, Ed.
Short some stocks.
No, I don't short stocks. You know why?
Because of that, what I just said.
Because I've seen people have their asses handed to them, and it ain't fun. We're going to cut to another little clip we did a little bit earlier with Matt von Teichman of Oh, no, did we already do that one? Oh, we're going to cut to Matt von Teichman of GreenSpace Brands. Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. My guest in this segment is Matt von Teichman. He's the CEO of GreenSpace Brands Inc, trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol JTR. Matt, welcome to our little show.
Thank you, James.
Matt, let's start. What does GreenSpace Brands do?
So prior to a few weeks ago, we were really just in the natural food space. So we have a whole bunch. We have 9 different brands in the organic and natural food space that we sell through every major retailer in Canada. And then we have one brand in the US that we bought just in January that is a plant-based dairy business that also sells pretty much through the whole country. Oh,
cool. So it's obviously going to be focused on CBD-infused products?
It is CBD, yeah. So a few weeks ago we announced the partnership with Emblem,
right.
And it's a partnership focused on branding CBD products. Starts off as oils, and then lotions, and eventually gets into edibles and gets into some of the brands that we own,
right.
Where we'll put CBDs into those brands.
I was having a deja vu moment there because I'm thinking, I think we must have just interviewed these guys because this seems very fresh to me. And then we just had Nick Dean here from Emblem last week, and he was talking about this, and I'm like, oh, the penny drops. Anyways,
perfect.
Slowly but surely, but eventually. Cool. So yeah, so we were talking about Emblem, about GreenSpace Brands during the Emblem interview, and so I kind of feel like I really kind of know the company now. So how do you grow this business into an international enterprise?
Well, I think it starts that we have a U.S. entity now, a U.S. platform, so we've got salespeople and merchandisers and everything we need in the U.S. to kind of grow it. But I think we'll wait on clarity a little bit on rules as they relate to CBD before we launch these brands in the U.S. So right now it starts as Canada. And we have relationships with every major grocery store and pharmacy and natural health food store in Canada. Right. And we have all the feet on the street as well as the key account managers. So we're well positioned to take a brand that we create with Emblem and put it through that channel once the regulations are kind of allow it. And before that, we'll probably start on non-CBD hemp-based products with that same brand to start establishing the brand in market.
Okay, so I have shelled organic hemp seeds on my porridge in the winter time.
Yeah,
and
only in the winter time.
Only in the, for some reason, porridge doesn't appeal to me in the summer. I don't know. I like white wine during the day too. It's like
very odd.
I'm just a herd animal. So then the CBD. I mean, how do you manage the inconsistency of CBD regulations from state to state and federally in the United States? I'm just curious about that because our last guest was also CBD focused and mentioned that it was inconsistent, and I didn't really dive in on it with him, but I wish I had, so I'm going to do it to you.
Good. The tough questions. Well, I think for us, we have some time to figure that out because we're not going to launch in the U.S. right away. So right now, it's a bit of a slippery slope. It's very much a black hole. So we're kind of avoiding the U.S. entirely until the regulations become clearer. I think there's some information around the World Health Organization indicating today that CBDs should be something that are deregulated, and hopefully that permeates kind of the worldwide community. And certainly, I would imagine Canada would be one of the first to pick up on that concept, but I imagine the U.S. would be one of the last. So we're going to wait until the regulations become clear around CBDs before we enter that market at all.
Okay, so just for my own sake, is it legal for a non-patient to buy CBD in Canada?
Yeah, it's still not legal. It's still considered a banned substance effectively. It's kind of tied together with THC. But as of October 17th, it'll be legal, obviously, through the online channel and wherever else it's allowed to be sold.
Will be allowed under the recreational regime.
That's right.
Even though there are no recreational attributes to CBD, except for the fact if you do a ton of it, you start to sparkle.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure about that piece, but yeah, exactly. It will be.
I'm telling you.
That's what happens. It will. That's exactly right. It is CBDs are going to be legal under the recreational kind of rules, and we anticipate, a lot of people anticipate, that eventually the Canadian government will deregulate CBDs and allow it to be sold as a natural health product and through pharmacies. But for now, that's not the case. So
can I ask you, my organic shelled hemp seeds, they probably contain some CBD, I would think.
Small amounts, yeah. If it's coming from industrial hemp, it'll contain small amounts of CBD.
Okay. Yeah. In California, I happen to know that there's a measure that has either passed recently or is soon to pass where they are going to ban the use of industrial hemp as a source of medical CBD.
Right.
And is that something that you're familiar with?
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar with it. I've been reading about it a bit.
Does that complicate your universe in any way, shape, or form in terms of the input costs?
It doesn't currently, mainly because, again, we're not going to be in the U.S., but a lot of the industrial hemp is grown in kind of the Midwest and grown in China, interestingly enough. So I don't think the purchasing of CBDs from industrial hemp is going to affect that very much, but you never know if that becomes something that catches on and other states decide that's the route they want to take, that would have an impact potentially. But again, because we're not really US based, I don't think it'll affect us, certainly not in the short term.
Interesting. So CBD, to produce CBD relative to THC, THC has such a wider range of effect and sort of characteristic as to how it interacts with particularly the human mind.
Right.
That you know, there's a lot more that goes into acquiring a high quality THC, high potency THC dried flower, premium dried flower, than there is required to obtain CBD from hemp. Is that correct?
I believe so. There are many different types of CBDs in hemp and in cannabis. There's more in cannabis than there are in hemp. But yeah, I think you're right. It's certainly the interaction of whatever strain of CBD with the human body is still relatively unclear. There's some research now going on, but because it's been effectively illegal in North America, at least for a long time, there's not a lot of research. So like the THC side, the CBD world is now undergoing a lot of research to see what are the true effects. And again, this WHO study or whatever came out today indicating that it has some effect with stress and anxiety relief and pain relief and different things like that is a help. But
the World Health Organization just came out with that today.
Yeah, they just
boy, are they ever a leading edge thinking agency?
Yeah, wasn't that something? But,
that's funny. Well, you know, it's interesting. You see all this, you know, evolving research and clinical data coming out now, whereas before you couldn't even study the plant without finding yourself or your subjects exactly incarcerated. So I suppose it's a good thing that now the clinical and the official medical side is going to come out and officially tell us what we've already known for decades.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you're right. Patients or people who have been using CBDs will swear by it, and they're in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. So there's a lot of people who will talk about it, but in the absence of true clinical research, it can be considered snake oil or something like that, and that's what we want to avoid. I mean, we believe, as does Nick from Emblem and pretty much everyone on our teams, that CBDs have a truly therapeutic and medicinal effect. But having more research to kind of study it and verify it is not a bad thing.
That would help.
That would help. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so then do you envision this product ultimately, or CBD rather, being in everything from, say, like energy bars to energy drinks to, weight training, protein replacement substances? Like, where's the limit as to where CBD will not end up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on what the effect of the CBDs are, because different CBDs do different things, but I envision it to be pervasive. So I think there will be sleep shots that have CBD, and there'll be morning energy shots that have CBD, and but different types of CBD because they produce a different effect.
Right.
But yeah, I think long term we'll see CBD in a ton of different products, in a lot of drinks, and a lot of edibles, and in a lot of sort of more medical forms like tinctures and those sorts of things, gel caps.
Is there any body of work available at this point where somebody who's very curious about it can go and find out that, oh, okay, this CBV is good for these things, and this is the strain that has high CBV or CBGA, or like, is there any work like that?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of work like that. Pointing to one particular resource might be challenging, but I know Stanford, for instance, has done a lot of work. They've been doing a lot of work on
Stanford University.
Stanford University, yeah, interestingly enough, on kind of the effect of these different CBDs. So I think that's probably a place you could look, but there's tons to look at online. The question is, how valid is it? There's so much kind of loose research online that probably is grounded in a good story and certainly in patient response, but true clinical research, I think there's very little of it just because it's so new.
Right. So from an investment point now, GreenSpace Brands has started trading when?
3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yeah, we've been since May 2015.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. And now Emblem Corp has put in $2 million investment. Is this a precursor to a more intimate tie-up down the road, potentially?
You never know. I mean, never say never. I think it depends on how our teams work together. But right now, it's an investment to get this new brand or these new brands started. And then it carries a royalty with it, so that's how Emblem's going to be compensated largely, plus it's a supply agreement. So it's a multifaceted agreement, but really what it is two very good branding businesses getting together and sharing resources to try to get the first CBD brands on the shelves.
Wow. Sounds exciting. Matt, we're going to leave it there, and I'm going to look forward to talking to you again in 3, 4, 5 months and see where you're at. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Great. Thanks, James. Yeah.
Welcome back. Don't know what you thought of GreenSpace Brands, but they are going to be in stores everywhere very soon. This whole economy based around cannabis is taking on a head of steam, and nobody can represent that evolution more succinctly than my good friend Dooma Wendschuh, who also happens to be the CEO and founder of Province Brands. Dooma, welcome back.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Dooma, you are making incredible strides with Province Brands. You've got prototype packaged beer here, and
Right
that
there.
looks like a beer.
Is that the right spot right there?
That's the right spot. And so it's obvious you're making great progress. You've closed financing. You've got a go public strategy that's
correct.
unfolding.
Yeah, we just announced that we closed our Series A round. We raised 10.9 million Canadian dollars. Now the total that we've raised since starting the company is around 16 million Canadian dollars. We have announced that we will be taking the company public, ideally before the end of the year. And we are planning our Series B, which will be our go public round, which I mentioned actually before on your show, will be underwritten by Paradigm, as well as a few other banks that will be joining the group that will be raising the capital. So
Great.
it's coming together. We look to be raising about $30 million concurrent with our public listing.
Wow. Okay, so is that enough to build a brewery?
It'll get us started. Let's put it that way. We can get a small brewery, and we can increase capacity. And when we're up and running at full capacity, we'll be 175,000 hectoliters, which is roughly 60 million bottles of cannabis beer per year. And we will be able to scale up from that given success. But we'll be the largest cannabis brewery in the world, and we'll be also a contract facility. We've been getting, as you might imagine, this week after the big announcements that have happened, we've had a lot of interest from licensed producers who may have a marijuana license but they can't brew a beer, and also brewers who may have a brewery but they don't have a marijuana license. Because we have both of those things, we can do contract brewing for LPs and for breweries.
You mean I could get you to produce a Midas Letter beer?
Well, I've already been working on one.
Really?
In secret, yes.
Okay,
You're going to love it. You just ruined the surprise.
Oh, no. Jesus.
You
Me and
knew.
Well, I know. I'm sorry about that. I've just ruined my own surprise.
It's going to be for your next anniversary.
Excellent. Okay, so every time we meet, there are evolutions and slight tweaks and changes to the landscape regulatory side in Canada for what is allowed and what isn't. And I know for a fact that at this point, we're still not clear on alcoholic beverages with cannabis components or any beverages with active cannabis ingredients yet, but the language keeps changing in that story.
Well, I think one thing that is clear is that they are not going to allow mixing alcohol and cannabis, which I think is a great thing.
Well, we'll have to do that ourselves.
Yes, you can do that at the bar on your own, but or at your home, I guess, on your own, because it doesn't seem like they'll allow social consumption of cannabis right off the bat either. Right. The products that we brew at Province are non-alcoholic and intoxicate using marijuana or its phytocannabinoids. They're different from an infused beer because they're actually brewed from the cannabis plant itself. We use the stalks, stems, roots of the cannabis plant as the starting material in place of barley from which we will brew our beer. So it is a really unique, authentic product. There's nothing like it on the market. It is super cool. But in terms of regulations, what we do know for sure is that come October of 2019, if not before, marijuana beverages will be on the shelf here in Canada. And if there was ever any doubt of that, the large investment by Constellation into cannabis growth is sort of indicating that certainly there is a lot of interest and a lot of energy going into producing cannabis beverages and a lot of money to lobby the government to make sure that they follow through on their promise.
You bet. You bet. Interesting. So then, what?
So is this a beer? Is it a type of beer?
It's a type of beer brewed from the cannabis plant instead of barley. So the ingredients are basically cannabis, hops, water, and brewer's yeast.
Any nutritional value there?
It will have some protein, just like a barley beer does, but just a little.
Okay.
What's important about it is gluten-free. It is much lower calorie than a typical beer, lower carb, lower sugar, and it's a great story.
We were just talking about hemp being a superfood. Now you got a super drink.
A superfood, super drink.
And after some alcohol and cannabis, you'll feel like Superman.
We'll try to avoid that.
That's right.
Whoa.
So I'm thinking about the the nature of cannabis plants, and I understand that at hemp is in fact a related to the hops plant, but I can't for the life of me imagine how you would deal with the flavor characteristics of a cannabis plant in the same context as you would barley in a beer.
Well, if you think about it, the flavor of beer comes from a lot of things. It
Right.
comes from the yeast you use, it comes from the process and the amount that you ferment it, whether you caramelize the sugars, whether you roast the malt. There's so many things that comprise the flavor of a beer. The actual barley is a very small percentage. I mean, the biggest component in the flavor of the beer is the hops, or it can be, depending on how much hops you use. Now, we use hops. We use, brewer's yeast, just like everyone else. But instead of that barley, we're using cannabis, and it has a very nice, robust, nutty, savory flavor. If you think of a wine, the white wines, there's sweet wines and dry white wines. We're basically a dry beer. It's lower sugar, it's lower calorie, it has this sort of savory aspect to it that's different.
How many calories, for instance?
Well, we've been saying 60, but our last test came back at around 40, and we're going to continue to develop it up until October of 2019 to get the lowest calories possible in a natural way. We're not using any NutraSweet or Splenda or anything in place of sugar. It is actually.
I'm going to try it for sure.
Oh, we'd love for you to try it.
Yes, well, I've tried
several.
Tried it.
Does this have cannabis in it?
This is a mock-up that you're looking at.
Okay, I'm just going to say cannabis.
Yeah, take it.
A mock-up, Ed. That means it's soda water.
That's right.
Hey, so that's great. So, so you're continuing to develop the product in full confidence that you're going to be able to sell it on the shelves in Canada very soon.
We know for sure we'll be able to sell it on the shelves in Canada, and if that's not enough, we've applied now for a license in Greece, and we are looking to sell it in Europe in medical marijuana markets, which also allow beverages. And we may be able to export it from Canada to certain medical markets already. So we may be able to even do that before legalization.
So how does the existence of an entity like Molson Coors in the space, how do you feel about that?
Oh, we think it's fantastic. I mean, no one ever thought there was going to be one type of cannabis beer, just like there's not one type of alcohol beer. There are different beers for different occasions, for different people, for different types of things. We think what we do is very unique and very different from what Molson may do, or what Canopy and Constellation may do, or what Hill Street may do, or any of the other beverage companies that have announced plans to launch a beer in Canada. Those guys are taking a non-alcoholic beer that's made from barley, and they're infusing a marijuana oil, which, hey, they're welcome to do that. But should they wish to actually brew from the cannabis plant, whether it's hemp or marijuana, they would likely need to license our patent-pending technology. And the technology has a lot of benefits, not the least of which is it's a great story. It's truly authentic. And when you think about the cannabis consumer, one thing they have in common with the craft beer consumer is this love of authenticity. Cannabis, by its nature, was a small batch craft industry for so many years. And what we're doing is making something that stays true to those very authentic roots of the cannabis plant. We think of it like the difference between a single malt scotch and a blended whiskey, right? They're both going to get you drunk, sure, but do a chemical analysis on them, they're basically the same thing. So why is it that people are willing to pay so much more for that single malt scotch than they are for that blended whiskey? It's like it's about the process that they use, the quality of the ingredients, all of these different aspects of what people are paying for. And
Ed can give you another reason why people are happy to pay a premium for blended scotch, or for a premium single malt over a blended whiskey.
What's the other reason?
Well, I would say it has something to do with their ego, right?
I was going to say bragging rights. I was trying to transmit that to you telepathically, Ed. I thought it was coming through. We've been having such a great, and then is it because it's almost quit?
I thought you wanted to say ego. I read it wrong. Sorry.
Well, bragging rights, ego, same kind of
same idea.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's very difficult to discern flavor by itself.
Right.
Like, because if you only have one thing, I mean, that's what it is. But you usually need to compare, like even viewing or audio or anything. You have to compare it to really say which one's better, right?
I suppose.
If you only get one stock to buy, how do you know if it's a good one?
How do you create excitement? How do you bash another guy's stock while pumping your own?
We think what we're making is the sort of the single malt scotch equivalent, and the infused beers would be sort of a blended whiskey equivalent. So it's very exciting to see what's going to happen in this industry.
So when will we be able to try an actual cannabis beer from your brewery?
Well, the marijuana beers will be available when marijuana beverages are allowed for sale here in Canada.
Okay.
And that looks like it will be around October of 2019.
Okay. And what about the actual beer brewed from cannabis?
Well, we are playing around with ideas, maybe announcing pretty soon that we might launch a beer made from hemp that would have alcohol in it. But the marijuana, when I said marijuana beers before, the beers brewed from marijuana will be available October of 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Whenever anyone else is allowed to.
Well, that's
to
a long
sell
time to
marijuana
wait
beverages.
for a beer, isn't it, Ed? What
Guys
time
can
is
get
it?
mighty thirsty.
What time is it now?
Mighty thirsty.
It's beer o'clock.
Beer o'clock. I love it.
Hey, Dooma. Well, as usual, it's fantastic to hear about the evolution of this story.
Yep.
It's innovation at its finest, and we congratulate you for the progress that you've
Thank
made.
you.
And we're also very excited about having you back again soon for another update. So thanks for
There are going to
joining
be
us
many
today.
more. Thanks for having me. It's been an honor.
All right, we're going to be back
Thanks,
next
Dooma.
week. We're going to have a whole roster full of crazy guests. We've got a whole bunch of content coming from our West Coast correspondent, the infamous now Justin. And what else have we got? We're going to have some live hits coming from probably BC. We're going to have a live hit coming from, we might even have a live hit coming from Smiths Falls, Canopy Growth. Drum roll, please. Anyways, don't forget, like us, love us, hate us, but subscribe. That's all we ask. Just subscribe. See you next week.